What's up, guys? The notorious Conor McGregor here, live from the big Yachty. Ladies and gentlemen, here is my picks for the evening. Max Holloway, Robert Whittaker, KO victories.
Yeah, that's how I was on Saturday night before UFC 308 took place. But then Robert Whittaker lost, and I don't even want to talk about what happened with Max Holloway.
Hey, bro, what you doing, boy? Hey, Garrett, where you tripping, fool? That nigga tripping, bro. What you doing? Bro, get up where you tripping. Bro, they ain't got him on mic. Man, get up off of the thing, fool.
Yeah, y'all, you know what it is. It's Lou Too Sick, and this is Ring Warriors TV. Let's do this, baby. What's good, everybody? Reporting live from the lab, my home office right here in beautiful Miami, Florida. It's your boy Lou Too Sick, and welcome to Ring Warriors TV. This little show that I started to recap the weekend that passed us in the world of combat sports. We talk about everything from professional wrestling to boxing and even MMA. This weekend in particular, MMA was the main focus. Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit a like on the video, get that popping in the algorithm. Comment below if you don't like what I'm saying. It's no problem. Let me know. I want all the smoke. If not, let's chop it up about these fights, about what's happening in the future, and let's create a little bit of a community. And our top story of the day, now let me tell you, this one is a tough one to report. Saturday night at UFC 308 marked a historic moment. Ilia Topuria, the Spanish returning featherweight champion, well, he made history. And for me, it wasn't in a good way. That's because he was the first person ever to knock out the blessed one, Max Holloway. For 3 rounds, both fighters stood toe-to-toe, exchanging blows. And in my eyes, Holloway took the first round, maintaining distance and using his striking to keep Topuria at bay. He was trying to drown Ilia in volume. But what we've learned from Ilia in the past, well, he's a master of composure and patience. He waited for his moment, landing some tough counters that hit with authority, and in round 3, it finally happened. Topuria unleashed the left hook that sent Holloway crashing to the canvas. A few hammer fists followed, and just like that, it was all over. Topuria remains the featherweight champion of the world. And guys, the performance was impressive. Topuria seemed totally comfortable from the moment he hit the octagon on Saturday night. It was his first defense of the championship, and he walked in singing and dancing. I mean, he seemed totally confident that he was going to get the win. And it wasn't just on Saturday night. It was basically the whole lead up to the fight. With the win, Topuria is now 8-0 in the UFC, and some are already throwing around the idea that he could be the best featherweight of all time. But here's the deal. Dana White has made it crystal clear. In order to be considered the greatest featherweight of all time, you got to beat the man who's currently considered the greatest featherweight of all time. That's Alexander Volkanovski. Now, Volkanovski has been the ultimate team player for the UFC, at times stepping in to save cards that were just basically dead and gone. Fighters had gotten injured, pulled out of main events, and Volkanovski was the guy who saved the day. This weekend, Dana White basically said he's going to pay back Volkanovski for all this hard work that he's given to the company, and he's next in line.
When things don't go our way and you got to call a guy, Volkanovski's always been that guy. He really was. And, you know, for him to ask for it's nobody, I don't think anybody's in this room going, oh, this is ridiculous or crazy.
All right, guys, we remember what went down last time Volkanovski and Topuria fought. Topuria, well, he won by knockout. Since then, Volkanovski, he moved up to lightweight, and he also lost by knockout. So really 2 losses in a row, and we haven't seen anything from Volkanovski since. Are you okay with the UFC giving him a title shot? Remember, that's over names like Evloev, and that's over names like Diego Lopez. Well, in my opinion, guys, I think we shouldn't jump the gun on this, because I think it's totally fine for the UFC to give Volkanovski this shot. I mean, he's not only been the guy for the UFC, he's been the guy for the fans, stepping in and giving us fights when we didn't expect it. Now, if this fight was to happen and Volkanovski was to face Topuria a second time, I don't think anything would happen different. I think Topuria will get the knockout again, because really right now we're seeing just an unprecedented run from Ilia. I mean, the guy is really showing the full package. He's not only striking with speed, striking with power, but he's also grappling extremely well also. I mean, look at the fight with Holloway on Saturday night. He slammed Holloway easy. All right. And we've seen in other fights that his grappling is just as good as his striking game. So right now, Topuria is seeming like the full package. The other question I want to bring up, though, is do you guys even see a Diego Lopez fight ever happening? I mean, if Topuria fights Volkanovski and is impressive in the rematch, why would he ever fight in featherweight again? The real money is in a move up to lightweight, and that's in a fight with Islam Makhachev. And right now, that's the fight that we all want to see. And in the co-main event, guys, Robert Whittaker went up against Khamzat Chimaev, and let's just say it wasn't a good day for the Reaper. Whittaker's strategy was to outlast Chimaev's signature early round blitz and push the pace as the fight wore on. Unfortunately, Chimaev's grappling game proved too much, and Whittaker didn't make it past the first round. Chimaev locked in a tight face crank that had Whittaker tapping out almost immediately. The damage, well, that was intense. Dana White shared a post-fight picture of Whittaker, and it seemed to show his jaw was popped, his teeth caving back all the way into his mouth. Now, initial reports speculated that his jaw might be broken in multiple spots. However, Whittaker later confirmed on Instagram that his jaw was intact. His teeth, though, not so much. And y'all, at the post-fight press conference, Chimaev wanted to talk about the injury. I mean, he said he wasn't trying to break Whittaker's jaw. He was just cranking and he's heard something click. Absolutely disgusting, to be honest. But if you want to think about what's next for Chimaev, let's do that. What's next, you'd have to think would be a title shot with DDP. I mean, Dana White has previously said Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland is coming up next for the middleweight belt, but considering how dominant Chimaev was on Saturday night, one would have to think that he's firmly in the conversation. In fact, betting odds already have him favored as the next possible matchup, with Bet Online listing Chimaev as a minus 200 favorite if he was to face DDP. So what do you think? In my opinion, I agree with them, man. I mean, I think if Chimaev was to face DDP, I'm giving that fight to Chimaev. Now, DDP is a funky fighter, and Chimaev has had problems with funky fighters in the past, guys like Gilbert Burns. DDP does have the power advantage, but remember, that gets all negated with good wrestling once you get taken to the ground. And I think, hey, if those guys get into the octagon together, I think Chimaev will have no problem taking DDP down. Also, remember, we're being told that we're seeing a Chimaev recently who has been compromised due to injuries, due to sickness, and all that playing behind the scenes. If we get Chimaev versus DDP and it's 100% Khamzat, it could be a bad day for DDP. Moving over now to the boxing world, and Manchester was buzzing Saturday night, and that was for good reason. That's because Jack Catterall, well, he took on two-time world champion Regis Prograis, and my man put on a show. He walked away with a unanimous decision victory. It's a win that's now catapulting him into the picture of the junior welterweight title. The numbers tell the story really for this fight. Catterall outlanded Prograis 83-72, showing solid command with both his jab and power shots. It was tactical, but Catterall's aggression showed through. In round 9, he'd perhaps clinched the fight, securing 2 knockdowns. His team had said all week his power was underestimated, and by the end of the fight, I think Prograis knew that too. And this fight was just more than a notch on the belt for Catterall. I mean, my man really showed some grit, and he's shown some grit throughout his whole career. He's had some injuries, he's had some setbacks. Let's also not forget the 2 fights with Josh Taylor. Well, this past Saturday night, it seems like he recovered from all that, and he's officially back. Coming up next, Eddie Hearn. Well, he's hinting that he might be up next for Liam Paro versus Richardson Hitchens. That fight is taking place in December in Puerto Rico.
Paro against Catterall is a very, very good fight. And I think it would be very unwise to rule him out in any fight against any 140-pounder.
Now, Regis Prograis, obviously dejected after the fight. He said he's hanging his gloves up for good. But that doesn't mean he's leaving the fight game. Take a listen.
It might be time to go to bare knuckle or something like that. I think that's... Listen, let him go. He has the WBO International now. Let him go be a champion. Obviously, I'll go talk to my team and stuff, but I think maybe 12 rounds might be too much for me now.
Yeah, so what do you guys think about that? A two-time world champion now saying he's no longer boxing, no longer going through 12 rounds, and he's instead electing to fight in the bare knuckle game. We saw this trend started with MMA fighters in the past. They didn't have too much success. Boxers, we've seen a few do it. Regis Prograis will be the latest boxer to do it. How do you guys think he will fare? And if this continues to happen with boxers moving to bare knuckle, which fighters would you guys like to see in the future? I mean, for me, I'm already signing up Deontay Wilder, baby. I'm trying to see his fist cave a head in. All right, guys, and that was this week's edition of Ring Warriors TV, recapping 3 big fights that happened in the weekend that passed. We'll be back next week to talk more events that took place in the world of combat sports. Remember to like the video, get it popping in the algorithm, hit the comments, let me know if there's some things that I missed, let me know if there's some things you want me to add in future editions. This is just an early production. In the future, we're gonna have something even better, a whole fleshed out show, production quality, maybe a studio. Who knows? But right now, we just gotta get a little bit of momentum going, right? It's Lou Too Sick. Make sure you stay tuned. We got a bunch of content coming. Just make sure you're following. Keep your hands up.
Every time I wake up, shit feel the same. Got a million thoughts and they weighing on my brain. Sipping on my favorite liquor just to ease the pain. Cause I feel like I'm crazy and desperate need to change. Making plans to move and talking state to state. Talking pounds and haze, medical high grade. Look how my eyes stay. What more can I say? How dare a nigga tell me that this rap won't work?